Silly goose. Silly goose. December 6th, 2023, on a Wednesday, 9 a.m. The silly goose, what's that about? Well, I had some time before the show, right? So I'm off on another screen doing some other stuff before the show, right? So I'm off on another screen doing. Then I realized, whoops, it's time for the show. And I am totally unprepared. Ay caramba. Do I have any emails to hit today? Let's see. No, I don't. I think there's a channel comment. Yeah, here's a channel comment from Dennis at 5:44 in yesterday's video. Those specs for Fortnite shouldn't be a problem with this little beast. He was not referring to a baby beast, which I thought he might have been. When I clicked to that, it was the specifications for Tim Cruz's new Dell laptop computer, and it was indeed a gaming laptop computer. And I don't think I have any, let's see, look at this. Windows Daily, do I have any bookmarks for today? I do not. And no emails. So maybe this will be a simple, short day. I don't know. Has anybody got something in chat for us to talk about? Oh, I know what I need to talk about. First is the show that I redirected to yesterday, Pirate Software. That was really fun because he noticed the redirect and asked about it, and I was able to give him some information about how to configure that in YouTube because he did not know that. He's been a Twitch streamer for, I think it was 6 years. And I don't know if that means his activity on YouTube is recent, but let's go back over here and look at that a little bit more. Now, I made up a trailer that I had scheduled to show this morning of the time on his show when we interacted. I captured some of his content, and when I configured the trailer to play before today's show, I went and tested it and it worked. But this morning when I checked on it, it wasn't running. It wouldn't work. I went back and tried to reconfigure it, and it simply would not play at the beginning of the show. So I went and investigated that to try to figure out why. Now, that was 22 hours ago. So that was during this show of his yesterday. And I think I figured out why it is because I think it's because he doesn't have clips allowed. Clipping is not allowed. See here, when we go look at his show from yesterday, let's maybe bring this down. Am I zoomed in right now? Yeah, I am. Bring it down so that we can see the 3-dot menu. Here's the 3-dot menu. Oh, wait a minute, it does have clips. Oh, that's interesting. When I was zoomed in, I didn't see clipping on his menu. It is here. So that's not the reason why it wouldn't show. I didn't have any, well, I can show this over here. Let's go over to channel content, and in videos here, here's that trailer for Pirate Software. I actually did 2 of them because the first time I didn't have his URL visible. So the second one shows his URL at the top of the screen. It was under 2 minutes long, and there's no visibility issues. There's no restrictions. So that was not a problem. There's only one view, and it was me. And when I come over to edit my scheduled stream into customization, come down to trailers, and when I try to select the trailer, both of those trailers show up here for Pirate Software. But when I select them, they simply would not play. They did last night, but they would not play today. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't think he flagged it as objectionable. It was actually an advertisement for his channel. So I don't know what's going on there. You know that I've been doing these redirects and trailers a lot and finding little nuances once in a while. Now, his show, man, I tell you what, he does like 8, 9, 10-hour live streams almost every day, but not today. He's not streaming right now, so I can't redirect to him now. And his channel grew by leaps and bounds recently over the period of 1 month, where he's now at 800,000 subscribers, and it gets like 10,000, I think it was, 10,000 viewers on a live stream, watching live and going, yikes. And he attributes that all to YouTube Shorts, or a substantial amount of it. So anyway, that's really been interesting, getting more acquainted with him. Now let's come back to chat. Then I'll zoom in a little bit. And Brian Lightfoot, I'm first, but don't get angry with me. So the trailer that I did play was the Beat Saber with Don't Get Angry with Me. From who was that? Now I'm struggling to remember who that. Don't Get Angry with Me. Let's see if I go search in here for angry. No, I don't want to do it. Oh, I know the easy way to find it is back here. If I go look at which one I had selected for, Don't Get Angry with Me, Rolling Stones, right? I knew that, I just couldn't come up with the name. You guys know me. I start doing a show and I sometimes can't remember my own name. John Williams says, great trailer. Greg Guy, third place. I just got up having my morning cup of coffee. It's 44 degrees in southern Maryland. Jeff was fourth. Brian Lightfoot, why does a flamingo lift one leg up? Because it lifted up both, it would fall over. Now, I caught this just at a glance. I only caught the first part of it when I was turning around to walk out of the room. I saw, why does a flamingo lift up one leg? And I was thinking, it's because, have you ever tried lifting two legs? That's what I was thinking, but that's the joke he was after. Mike Wojcik, hello. Randy Israel, greetings from Selden Ball. Alice, hello. Selden, maybe I can type, they're threatening us with light snow. Let's see, Selden Ball, greetings here. Oh, and TJEU. That's where he was trying to type in the light snow. TJ. I'm trying to look at what keys he would have been trying to hit and hit wrong. No, I just completely, dude. AMD, WITAM could have been with what he was trying there. I don't know. Rand Israel, this is new, first time for consumers as well. HelpNetSecurity.com. What do we got here? Turn off that. Microsoft will offer extended security updates for Windows 10. Microsoft will not abandon Windows 10 users to an insecure fate once it reaches end of support on October 14th, 2025. Now, they're not saying end of life, they're saying end of support. Both enterprises and individual consumers will be able to receive extended security updates, but will have to pay for them. That's been a thing for a long time. There's another acronym for it where you can pay for extended support. Yeah, yikes. So as I started reading this, I wasn't assuming, I was assuming that they were going to do security updates for free for a while, but no, they're saying pay for it. Details, how much is it going to be? I'm going to kind of scan through this. Are they telling us how much it's going to be? I'm not spotting it offhand. 200 here. Previously Windows 7 consumer, $50 for the first year, $100 for the second year, $200 for the third year. And it goes up year by year. Some corporations will do that. They want to keep the old operating system for a while, but I did not realize that was available for consumers. Interesting. Anybody who's not willing to go to Windows 11, would they be willing to pay for security updates? Wow. I don't know about that one. That seems like a big bite for people who aren't willing to upgrade to Windows 11. Now, of course, for some people, that means getting a new computer, although there are ways to force Windows 11 onto a computer that's not qualified for Windows 11. You would then get the security updates. You just don't have the assurance that that hardware will continue to work with Windows 11. Your unpreparedness was exactly what happened to me earlier. Yeah, being distracted with something else because you got time, right? Richard Rogers saying hello to people. Alice saying hello to people. More people saying hello to more people. Zavi Menor's here. Hello, Zavi. Good to see you, my friend. Gary Weisenberger's here. Good to see you as well. And then he's showing us something here. What is it? Extended security updates for Windows 10. This doesn't look like the same. Yeah, this is actually from Microsoft. Device prerequisites. To be eligible to install updates from the ESU program, devices must be running Windows 10 version 22H2. So 22H2 is sufficient. You don't have to have 23H2. How much does it cost? Final pricing. Enrollment conditions will be made available closer to October 2025 date for the end of support, approximately 1 year before the end of support for Windows 10 ESU. Wait a minute, what? Available closer to approximately 1 year before the end of support for Windows 10, which we're past that now. ESU will be free for all Windows 365 customers. For more information about Windows 365, what is Windows 365? I know Microsoft 365 is the Office suite. It used to be called Office 365. Now they're saying Windows 365. I think I've heard of that before, but I can't say what it is. Cloud-based service. That's what I was thinking. That automatically creates a new type of Windows virtual machine. Yeah, Windows 365 is a virtual machine in the cloud. So does that mean you could use like a Windows 10 that's not up to date with its security and use a Windows 365 virtual machine on the web? But I think it's pretty expensive to use. You can see here it's business, enterprise, government, frontline, whatever that is. Jim, Rick Lakes, Jim, open your wallet. Yeah, that's right. Open your wallet and pay. Lawn Dog Doug, about the Microsoft Extended Security Support, they said things like that about Windows 7 and paying for it, but I am currently getting security updates and have for several years. Yeah, that's a thing. I have seen that. I have seen using an operating system that's obsolete and notice security updates still come in. But Microsoft is not responsible or liable to those security updates. They may still send them out. They may not be doing as much or as in depth as they would while it is under support. I have seen Microsoft provide security updates to operating systems that are long out of date, long obsolete, but they're not liable to it. They don't hold themselves responsible for it. Nobody else can hold them responsible to it. If they give it, it's just an extra gift. So you can't count on that for keeping you secure, in my opinion. IMO, in my opinion. Ran Israel, ESU was never free, but until now it was only available for business, not consumers. I know this will end in January 2024. And this will end, what will end in January 2024? We've got October 2025, isn't that the date? What are you saying? January 2024. That's Lawn Dog. Extended security support. Yeah, I don't know. I would not be concerned about the security support. Microsoft always supports their products with security updates for many years after it's lost support. They use a lot of confusing, ambiguous marketing statement if you try to move to Windows 11, to try to get you to move to Windows 11. Yeah. Well, I still think whatever security updates they give you, it's not as much as if it was still in support. I think they're just giving security updates for the really egregious issues that exist, in my opinion. That's not documented as far as I know. And by the way, the paid versions are for government, corporations and government, something like that. Yeah. Ran Israel. There is no 23H2 window. Oh, yes, of course. You're right. There is no 23H2 and Windows 10. So 22H2 is the most current. Thank you for pointing that out. I absolutely recognize that as soon as he said that. Our government is currently paying a large fee to continue to have security updates for XP, yes. Windows, because I think they probably have some homegrown software that they haven't or don't want to recreate for the newer operating systems. Windows as a Service, WAS, W-A-A-S, is I think he's saying that's the Windows 365. Doug, see, Doug, you're already reading into the ambiguity that Microsoft puts in their statements telling you about things. Let's zoom in here a little bit. I forgot to do that, didn't I? By the way, when it comes to Windows 7 specifically and their security updates and supposedly their statements about lack of support, they're given 3 major security updates because the flaw was so bad they had to patch it in addition to the continuous security updates. If the security flaw in a product is severe enough, Microsoft overrides their usual stuff, say to the public something like that. Yeah, if there's a security problem that is so significant that Microsoft does not want the black eye over it, they will send out security updates. And when we go look at security updates in the Microsoft catalog, you'll find that things like it applies to such and such Windows version from Windows 7 forward, or Windows 10 1703 forward. And lots of times we're seeing them issue updates for products that are no longer supported. There are versions of Windows 10 that are no longer supported, right? If you have Windows 10 1703 and 1809, and I'm not sure what they're up to, 1903, is that still supported? But at some point, there are Windows 10 versions out there that are no longer supported. If you're on that, you are not adequately protected, even though some security updates will still come through. The Windows 10 that is currently under support is 22H2. Yeah, I said that right. I think of the older ones, I think 21H2 is no longer under support. The ones that use the 4-digit numbers, no longer supported. You are at risk. Brian Lightfoot, you want free from Microsoft? There is no you in Microsoft. You want free in Microsoft. There is no you in Microsoft. There is an I. So Microsoft is concerned about their concerns or issues or motivations. I'm missing interests. I for interest, right? Let's see, I did get that. LOL from Alice to Brian. Micro, he's given us the, I don't even know what to call that. I think that means micro, doesn't it? Hello, let's see, I got my other monitoring screen over here on my left. Lundog, that's because the base code is still, generally speaking, Windows 7. For years, I've been monitoring the updates between Windows 7 and Windows 10. There are a lot of updates there that are the same. Yep. Dennis, can't leave a Premiere link as there's 3 videos being released today. Just subscribe to me and use the bell for notifications. Can't leave a Premiere link. So why couldn't you give a Premiere link for each of them individually, Dennis? Let's see, if I go over here to Dennis's channel, let's see, that is here. This is his channel. Couldn't you do a Premiere, a link for each of them? Let's see, it's videos is where it shows up, I think. Premiere, where do I see his scheduled premieres? I'm not seeing them. Here's Dennis with short hair and medium length hair. I hope you don't mind me showing that, Dennis. I'm not even seeing the premieres. Do they not show up? Maybe, I don't think Premiere shows up to people other than the content creators. Is that right? You ought to be able to put those in. Danielle Emberly, had to step back again with my 5700 system again. Testing started again with keyboard and mouse. Only USB devices. Connected system quickly became unstable with more USB devices connected. Wow, this is with the replacement motherboard. She had to replace her motherboard because her motherboard was sending way too high voltages to her CPU, and it was causing the system to shut down. So she got a replacement motherboard that fixed the voltage issue. Then she she had previously been having USB issues. So start testing again with keyboard and mouse only, the only USB connected devices. The system quickly became unstable when she started adding more USB devices. Now there's that USB dev view, Alice, that might be of use to you. Let's see if I can find that. It was on, let's see, USB dev view. Yeah, here's USB Dev View download. It gives you the ability to, it's from Nursoft. You can download that. And what that gives you, we've looked at that a few times. It might help. You might send us some screenshots of things that you find there. I'm going to bring it up here, USB Dev View. And so it gives you all of this information. Now, does it give a save option, save selected items, create disconnected, disable items? So let's see, what if you're looking across these columns, is this going to help? Safe to unplug, disabled, USB hub, drive letter. What should, maybe some people in chat can point out what she should be looking for here. There's a scroll bar at the bottom to scroll over and see more stuff. If there's one of these items that you are suspicious about, you can double click on it to see this display of all of those columns of information. You can send us screenshots of things that you're suspicious about. Let's see, can you, yeah, you can control click to select multiple items. Let's see, why am I not, yeah, they're highlighting. Now, can you restrict the view to those selected items? Copy selected items, where would that go to? Copy selected items, where would you be copying them to? Yeah, I don't know that. So we could play around with you over the multiple days, Alice, to see if we can help narrow down what's causing those issues. The amount of voltage going out to those devices may be of interest. So let's see, go to this, where's this, power. Click on the power column to sort things so you get your highest power usage things here. So plug in those extra items and see if they're taking excess power. Your old motherboard had a power issue. Maybe the power issue of your old motherboard was created by a misbehaving USB device. Could that be? I don't know. I've never heard of that. That's because the base code is still what they use. Continuing in chat, Ran Israel says that's a symbol for micro. Okay. Mathematical symbol. Yeah. So you could micro. You would put in micro. What would it, when would you be using the symbol micro adjacent to a number? I'm drawing a blank. Some earlier versions of Windows share the same code base for portions of the operating system as the versions still under support. Yes, they do. And Windows 11 was supposed to recreate a lot of that code base, I think, from scratch. Flaky power supply, Ran Israel is suspicious about for Alice. Lawn Dog, yeah, I'm wondering about the power supply also. Also, if there's a way to check the voltage output using USB adapter that tells you the voltage and current. Most people don't have one of these, but it might indicate a low current or voltage. Yes, I have one of those. I don't know where I have it, but you can plug it in the USB port, plug in your USB device. It'll show how much power you're using. Is that different from this? This is showing milliamps. It doesn't show the voltage. The power device that it can plug into USB port, it will show amps and, or milliamps and voltage. They are expensive. I believe typically around 600 milliamps, maybe 800 comes out of the typical USB port these days. You can look up the specifics of the motherboard, but that's in the area of content. Let's see, let's go look at Amazon and see if I can pull up the device that I purchased and provide that. Let's see, USB Power. I don't want to provide power. Looking for it. USB power measuring device. Clicking on to the next one. Am I going to recognize? Yeah, here it is. This is it. Last purchase went in $10 for that. And if I get, I looked for a share button on here for it to give us a short link. And recently I couldn't find that. So I'll try that from here. And then I'll highlight this and Control C that. So I Control C two things. And I'll come down here and Windows key V. I took that off screen for a moment to be sure that I don't have something private in my clipboard history. Power 3rd Gen triple USB with data blocker, and then put in the Amazon link. Is that going to exceed the amount of characters? Ends with $1, and apparently I have, I think, 40 characters left, or does that mean I exceeded by 40? Yep, it's there. So there's that. Now, where was I in chat? Micro power supply. Let's see what size of the power supply running this means. I highly doubt that that's going to be a trouble. Danielle, this morning ran AMD cleaning utility, cleared CMOS. Oh, wait a minute. Did I say, you know what? I think I mixed up. I think I used Alice's name instead in place of Danielle. Danielle's the one having the problem with the USB and replaced the motherboard. That was not Alice. Alice is looking to buy a new computer. This morning ran AMD cleaning utility, cleared CMOS, reinstalled latest chipset, drivers per MSI, reinstalled AMD Adrenalin graphics, software turn off XMP, uninstalled Veeam backup software. She's on top of it, I'll tell you what. Greg, USB device can draw more amps that can be supplied by USB system. Sometimes one needs to use USB powered hub to supply the higher amps to the device. Absolutely, good point. U grams, U meters. Okay, that's when you would use that that character, that micro. So if you want to say micrograms, micrometers. Micro is used as a prefix, as with microfarads in capacitors. All right, thank you. Danielle, can I infer portable drives that do not have their own power supply may be a problem? Yes, and Danielle, I've come across this. Look at that power supply. If there is a place on that power supply for external power, but you don't have the adapter for it, then yeah. Oftentimes external devices need their own power, especially if they're 3.5 inch. Absolutely, 3.5 inch requires external power, but even 2.5 inch I've seen where they need power, because in the 2.5 inch, if it has a spinning drive inside it, absolutely it needs external power. Now, one way of dealing with that is some of those external devices will come with a USB adapter that has two USB connectors, and they want you to plug both of those into your USB ports, and they may have in their specifications that you plug it into a port that is providing power, which is, what is that, a USB 3.2, 3.1? I can't keep those numbers in line because I don't need them on my day-to-day basis, but there's not all USB ports provide the same amount of power. I have had occasions where I've had an external USB device around for so long that I've lost track of the power and had to go find one that works for it. And look at the case of the external USB device. If it has anywhere printed on it what power rating it expects, then definitely that device needs external power or additional power beyond USB. Dennis, I just be lazy, Doug. No premiere scheduled just yet. Oh, they're not scheduled yet. That's what it is. Brian, no, micro intel. Oh, that's some of the Dougs around here. Micro intelligent. That hurt. That laugh was an internal laugh, and it actually hurt me in the ribs. Ouch. Ran Israel to Danielle. Do only bus-powered devices cause issues? How are you going to identify a bus? Well, okay, bus-powered, meaning you don't have any external power. That's what a bus-powered device would be. Lawn Dog says, not necessarily, Danielle. Most devices can run off the 5-volt USB power supply by the motherboard, but caution is things like USB 2.5-inch hard drives, meaning mechanical hard drives. If they're 2.5-inch SSD, they are often fine with USB powered stuff. I'm not going to go look at that link because I know that guy. This didn't show up as a clickable link to me. Did that show up as a clickable link to you guys? Is there something wrong with how I did that? Let's see. I'm gonna test that link. I'll copy it from here and make sure it is functional. And yes, it is. All right. Sometimes it can be marginal for how much current they draw. They actually pull from the machine. I have one specific drive that, generally speaking, doesn't work with all machines. Get a load of this. Let's see. One specific drive, generally speaking, doesn't work with all machines. I'll read the rest of this first. But for the most part, if you have a USB hard drive, I would set it aside and continue with testing and exploration of this condition. The thing I'm laughing at here, you know, Lawn Dog uses voice to text with Dragon Naturally Speaking, the home edition. Specific drive, it capitalized specific and put a period after drive. It thinks that's a street name. Specific drive. That's why it did DR period, because it thinks that's a street name. Now, if he went back and corrected that and told it to spell it out and not capitalize, and then he says, always remember, there's a choice for always remember this, then it won't do that again. You could even just correct the DR period part and say never change that to DR period. Lawn Dog, let's see, I already read that. Oh, are you in trouble now? Let's see, was that me? What did I do? Jim, you can run a laptop spinning drive or SSD off USB power. You can run a laptop spinning drive or SSD off of USB power. 3.5 drives require external power. Really? I have seen 2.5-inch drives that I couldn't get them to work off of USB power. So then I plugged in external power and it worked. Now, because of that experience, in fact, I remember one time I was doing that live and Kerry Holzman was watching the show. He and others told me that I have to have external power on that because it's a spinning drive. I'm sure I'm remembering that correctly. That's what he's saying. I'm in trouble because he's saying that I can do it from just USB power. But maybe it has to be a USB power that is providing sufficient power. Yeah, maybe I'm remembering something wrong about that. I don't know. Lawn Dog says, Doug, you bring up a good point. If the USB device has a port for external power, that's basically telling you need external power. That's kind of important to remember. Also, the number of devices, even if a single device could run off a USB connector, the more that you add to the USB connector or to that USB circuit, the more you could send the machines over current. Now, let's go in here and look at Device Manager. Device Manager about USB circuit, because there's USB, bus or circuit. Basically, I think you usually have two USB ports that are using the same power source, the same circuit. So if you put two USB devices sharing the same USB hub, internal hub on the motherboard, I think it is that you would be straining at that point. So like here's USB root hub, there's 4 of them, and there's 8 devices. I haven't done the numbers on these or figured out which is which, but if sometimes when I have and I did this with all my cameras and such, where some device wasn't working well, and I just, rather than, what I do is plug it into a different USB port so it's not adjacent to another device that is similarly taking a large amount of power. And that would fix the issue, particularly for me with these long USB extensions that I have that are like 25. I think I have one or two that are 30-foot extension, USB extensions. Now, most of those have active power midstream. Somewhere along that cable, I have an AC adapter as providing additional power to make them work. The more you could send the machine's overcurrent chips into action, let's see, the more that you add to that connector or that circuit, the more you could send the machine's overcurrent chips into that action. I think there might be a typo in there somehow, or a word or verbal. If it's not a typo, it's a verbo, right? Because he's speech to text. Daniel Loran, I see half USB connectors come from the 5700G and half come from the B55 550 chipset. Okay, one of those is the motherboard and one of those is graphics? Yeah, I don't know. I don't quite understand that. Zavi Minor, yesterday a problem started on my wife's computer. It partially freezes. Chrome continued to work, but could not open a file from documents. Replacing the disk solved the problem. Did you have any, how about Crystal Disk Info, Zavi? Did that show any issues? Ran to Danielle, explain. Yeah, asking to explain that. Isn't one of those your mother, aren't those both motherboard model numbers? I don't know. I'm confused there. Yeah, I was looking over to see the more recent chat. Jim, you can run a laptop spinning drive or SSD off of USB power. 3.5 drives require external power, definitely. But the spinning drive I was unable to do off of USB power. It might have been because it was a lower powered USB port. Selden Ball, yes, it's a clickable link for me. Thank you, Selden. Good to have that clarification. Gary to Danielle, if you are not using a 3.5-inch USB drive, you should be fine. Long Dog, yes, Doug, I spotted that before I entered the return key about the drive. I thought it would bring some humor to the program today. Return key. Yeah, I don't know which one that's referring to, but he was confirming something about, I think, a typo, wordo. And today and more content. Danielle, I do have several of those Western Digital My Passport 2.5-inch hard disk drives, which I'm sure she's meaning that as spinning drives. All 3.5-inch mechanical drives need external power. Jim is correct in what I believe he's trying to inform us about. Absolutely, all 3.5-inch have to have external power, which could be provided by the internal power supply if you're able to plug it in to the drive. Selden Ball, I have some 2.5-inch drives which work without external powers, which require a powered hub. I remember that it was a 3.5-inch drive. I remember that. Oh, Saran is remembering the time when I was having trouble with operating a drive externally off of, and he's saying it was a 3.5-inch drive. I'm hard pressed to believe that, because there's no way for me to connect a 3.5-inch drive by USB only. Yeah, there just isn't. So I felt sure it was a 2.5-inch spinning drive that I wasn't able to get working, and I'm thinking it was because the USB port I was plugged into was not providing enough power, and I took it to mean it had to have external power. All right, I don't know. So Selden Ball, you're reinforcing to Londog to Selden. You're reinforcing what I was trying to convey, that most 2.5-inch USB hard drives work off 5-volt supply from a machine, but not every single one of them I have one of these power-hungry USB drives that was given to me on the assumption from the owner. Originally, the drive was intermittent, and he just gave it to me and check it out and bought another one. Danielle, just thinking I started using the wired LTC Nimbleback illuminated keyboard not too long ago. Keyboard has a port for the mouse receiver. Not sure how much power that draws. Yeah, that, let's see, it's a wired keyboard. It's illuminated, so it's using more power than a normal keyboard. And it has a port for the mouse receiver, which is additional power. So that could be that you need to have that plugged into a USB port on your computer that is providing extra power. Some ports have that SS or a lightning bolt, or maybe you look at the motherboard manual to look at the difference between your different USB ports to find what is providing more power. Let's see, I am way over time. I'm kind of scanning through a little bit. I just hooked a 2.5 spinning drive using USB, fired it up, started spinning right away without any additional power. Yeah, what port were you plugged in? Were you plugged into a 2.0 USB port? Or were you plugged into a USB 3 port that had like power? Or a USB 2.0 port that had extra power provided? Is there anything more from John yet? Let's see, Danielle's got us an Amazon link here for something. Oh, her new keyboard, Nimbleback. 3.5-inch drives need 12 volts. Yeah, we know that they require power. Dennis has scheduled the videos. USB 2.0 is so slow. All right, I think I'm caught up enough. I'm going to read through those more closely, but I'm going to go ahead and shut down. Here's my email address. If you'd like to send me an email, send along pictures, send along a video of something that you're working on. They're great for this show. Send along your questions or just information about something you're doing at the community and myself. Love to see what you're working on. And that'll do it for today. So have a great day, everybody. Catch you later. Goodbye.